In this episode, Dale and Val speak to IJ Samuel and Amal Kawaja, who will be presenting at the Project Controls Expo virtual this September. They will be presenting about diversity and inclusion in project controls. For more information, visit projectcontrolsexpo.com to grab a ticket to the expo. And for more in depth information on the podcast, visit projectchatterpodcast.com. Now, on with the pod.
Hi, IJ and Amal. Welcome to the show. Now, tell us what we can expect from your presentation.
Hey,
Yeah, go on, IJ. We're both super excited, as you can see. I'll hand over to you, IJ, to start.
sure. Very excited. Hi, Dale. Hi, Val. We really excited to be talking about diversity and inclusion at the expo. It'll be at the Innovation Zone. And Amma will just do a quick intro and we'll take it away from there.
Thanks, IJ. So yeah, definitely super excited about speaking at the expo. It's going to be about diversity and inclusion, something very dear to our heart, both myself and IJ, and very specific this time to project controls and how can we really move the dial even further. For those of you who saw us last year, we spoke about D&I, but this time it's coming with a different flavor, giving you a bit more insight on things that we'll discuss in a bit. But I'm probably going to just start with a few stats maybe about how diversity is within project controls and give a few examples about construction. And then I'll hand over to IJ to give us a bit more flavor. So as we all know, diversity and inclusion is a bit of a challenge in project controls, and if we take construction industry as an example, which has a lot of project controls within it, we can see that within, for example, disabled category in D&I, only 6% of the construction industry declares themselves as disabled, when the UK workforce has 14.5%. So quite a stark difference. I'm not going to tease out more numbers, but I'm just going to start with this and, hand over to you, IJ, to maybe add a bit more flavor to it. Teasing people a bit to come see us.
Yes, absolutely. I think one thing that we need to emphasize here is that people are the heart of delivering projects, and project controls and PMO were the critical conscience when it comes to project delivery. So the question for us is, how can we accelerate our new ways of working? How can we future-proof our talent pipeline? How can we build a diverse workforce? But beyond diverse workforce, how can we make our environment and our project delivery more inclusive? You think about new ways of working. COVID has really accelerated remote working. If you think about that, there is a war on talent out there now. Our talent pipeline, we need to look at how do we do the bookend of how we get people in, how do we do the other bookend, how we actually retain and progress people within the businesses. If you think about the increase in remote roles that are currently being listed now, I think on LinkedIn, there was some stats going around about the circa 5 times more remote roles that have been listed. What that means for us is you can now access a lot more diverse talents more than ever before. The reach is much greater. You have access to a wider pool now. Why don't we capitalize on that? What can we do different? We can't wait for legislation only. So Race Equality Act, gender pay gap, there's so many acts so far that have brought us as far as we've gotten to. Why do we need to wait for another legislation to act on D&I? Why? We have to act before it's too late. Don't we, Amal?
Yeah, we do. I'm just going to pause for a bit, see if Val and Dale would like to tease something out before, I continue from my side.
No, we could listen to you guys all day. As you know, we absolutely love what you guys are doing out there and really, shaking things up, getting people to think about things. And this is how we bring awareness to project controls. I love that you're teasing everybody who's listening to come to the Project Controls Expo and have a listen. We need to get involved. And I love your messages and relating it back to project controls too, and the fact that we are moving to a remote workforce. And so why not? And I love the fact that you're really putting questions out there for the listeners to think about, IJ and Amal. And I think that's what we need. We need people to think about it and internalize this and then answer it themselves in their own workforce, in their own organizations, and see where they go. I want to ask a question. So we don't want to tease out too much, but I know we have to try at least. We don't want to start with how, but we do want to start with why. So why? Why do we need diversity? I'll go with
I'll take.
Amal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll take that one, Val. So as we obviously, I highlighted, a few of the stats around how things are critical within construction and within project controls. If we cast the net a bit wider, IJ tapped on, remote working and what COVID did to us and how that really requires diverse talent. So if you think of COVID, what it did to project controls as a wider example. And then if, I keep reflecting on construction, maybe because most of my experience is in it, but obviously this applies to all of controls. We needed to digitize, we needed to act fast at the back of COVID. And this was something that has been at the heart of project controls for a long while. But now it became even more dominant that we need to digitize. Now, what that means, you need different new talent. You need, you're not looking just for project controls that can, pull up an Excel sheet and work it out. You're looking for diverse talent. So this is just one angle of it, Val, to show you how we need to, start thinking differently. And obviously it goes way beyond talent and your skills. And I'm just going to add a few more things here. There's been a recent study by the CIOB on the impact of aging population on the construction industry. And there's some really interesting stats there. We all love stats, we're project controls, we love numbers. It shows that we have an aging population in the industry, in project controls and in construction. We are aware of that. And what that really means is that we have people we need to cater for at the higher spectrum of age. And then it's also showing, that same study, that people are not entering the industry at the same rate. So we have here two angles. We've spoken about skills, we've spoken about age. We're just throwing a few things out there to really show you different angles of diversity and why that's really important to bring into our teams and start thinking with a different lens.
And if I add to that as well, the very valid point right there, Amal, in terms of that lens of what we have as a leaky talent pipeline, either at the other spectrum or at the entry level. But also, if you look at it from a perspective of, we do need a fair representation of the communities that we live in and that we work in as well. So our communities where we deliver these projects, the diversity makeup of those communities, are we as businesses, as delivery teams, are we anywhere near representative of those communities that we work in? Question mark.
And if I may add to that, oh, sorry, IJ.
No, you go on.
I was just going to add to that, what we build in the projects we do should be not just representative of the people, but also they are there to serve the people. So if those teams are not really diverse and know what people need, be it disability, be it something in relation to, even if we tap on inclusive design here, the aircon and level of temperatures in rooms, this is just a little example, but all of these angles need to be factored into our projects. And if we're not representative of the communities we live in, then, we're not really doing our job right, are we?
Exactly.
Yeah, there's some great comments there. And I think, there won't be a lot. I mean, from previous conversations and previous Project Controls Expos, we haven't seen a lot of discussion around inclusivity and diversity of thought. We call it diversity of thought, but that kind of conversation. So it's great that, one, you're pointing out some really good statistics because you're going to get all the project controls guys and excited about that. But also you're representing a side of project controls that doesn't get discussed enough, I think, which is really, really important. So thank you guys for doing this. I really want to support you guys. And as much as I can, I'll definitely be signing up. I'm going to hand over to Dale for some extra questions.
I agree, Val. Amal, IJ, you had me at hello. I am definitely going to sign up and make sure that I attend your presentation.
Thank you.
Because you know what? The passion that both of you have is amazing. And as Val said, we can literally listen to you both talk about this for days, let alone hours. But it is really interesting stats. And I question, I guess, just to throw something provocative out there. When do we know when we've hit the right levels of diversity? Is there a threshold? Let's maybe get IJ's thoughts on that first.
Sure. The question I would throw back at that question is, what's our baseline? Do we know our starting point? If you think about in sales, you would always start with, this is our base target, and I want you as a sales manager or sales rep to outperform this target. But that's because you have a baseline.
Yeah.
Most businesses, most projects, we don't have our baseline stats of where we start from, and then we build from there. So in answer to your question, when do we know that we've reached that level that we're comfortable with? I would challenge our projects to say, let's look at the community that we're serving and delivering those projects in. Let's understand the diversity makeup of those communities, and let's look inwards then. Are our project teams reflective of that? So that, back to the point that Amal raised, how do we know that we're serving those communities better if we don't have a fair representation of those communities?
Yeah, very good points. We love baselines and controls, Amal. Do we know how to set a baseline for diversity of thought?
I would probably say we can set a baseline for the diversity of teams based on, the different things that make people diverse. So there is obviously, the 9 protected characteristics. That's always a starting point that companies, it helps companies know where to start, because this really holds a lot of diversity. Now, within that, we realize that it covers a lot of different diverse spectrum, but it doesn't cover everything. So this is where you can go wider with some of the questions when you, let's say, issue a survey to set your baseline within an organization. But definitely these 9 protected characteristics are a great starting point because, we need to start somewhere.
That's
and there
awesome.
are companies that have already done this. So it's not alien when we talk about having baseline of data. It's been done already.
Yeah, that's great. And you're going to be sharing which companies these are and these techniques, the how at your presentation?
I was going to say enough for today. We'll hold that back. Come watch us at the Expo. Come listen to us.
So on that one, Dale, you're trying to tease a few things out. I think I'll leave the audience with a flavor, of what we'll talk about. It won't really be a lot about the baselining as much, which is obviously a topic very dear to my heart, but it will be a bit more about how we go beyond attracting and retaining talent, how things don't stop at talent. So although people are at the heart of our projects, but it really doesn't stop there. It goes really beyond how we deliver our projects, all the way from procurement to setting up projects, delivering them, to even closing them and realizing our benefits, just our typical life cycle. And there is really a lot of space for D&I in how we deliver our projects for all the points we just mentioned. And as the PMO and project controls, we're really the critical conscious of the projects, right? So why not play our role in being the critical conscious for D&I and holding that, the baton, and seeing how we can be exemplary in project controls, given that we're so good at, monitoring and baselining and seeing how we progress. And I really see that diverse teams who deliver projects from an inclusive lens will future proof our talent pipeline in project controls, which goes back to the initial point about, the challenge in skills shortage and lack of diversity. So maybe over to you, IJ, if you have some points to add to that.
No, definitely. Just to wrap up on this one, I think the key thing to call out to our listeners, diversity is a numbers game, okay? What we're talking about bringing into the project controls community is how we use inclusion to shift the dial. And that's an area that we often don't talk much about. Diversity, we can use the numbers. We are in project controls, we're in PMO. We can use the numbers. We can play with the numbers to make it fit. But the culture, that cultural change that comes through inclusion is something at the heart of every stage of project delivery that we need to see how we bring this to life.
Amazing.
So I'm going to leave that for our audience to come to the Expo.
A cliffhanger.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Val, there is nothing that these two don't know. They know everything about the subject. And we had there's this other podcast. It's a horrible one. It's called Project Chatter, but we spoke to these two on that for a good hour, and it's such amazing insight. So please do go check that out, episode 53, if you want to hear more from Amal and IJ. But if you can wait, go and check them out at the Expo also. I know we are struggling for time, so any final thoughts from yourself, IJ?
Come and see us. Come and listen to us at the Project Controls Expo Virtual. We can't wait to see you there. Thank you for hosting us today.
Awesome. Amal?
Same
Nice.
from me. Come and engage with us. This is really a people conversation, and we want to speak with people. We want to hear their thoughts. We want to talk with them and challenge each other, because this is where we start, right?
Amazing. Amazing. Well, thank you both for your time. It's short and sweet, but we look forward to your presentation at the Expo.
Thank you very
Thank
much,
you.
Dale and Val.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.